What's up, everybody? Welcome back to D's Corner. I am your host, D. We are still kicking it in with our off-season outlook free agency edition, heading into the NFC South, where this division here is going to be pretty much up for the takings. We're going to talk. There's a lot of action to be had in this division. A lot of caps clearing space for specific teams. People who players who need to be brought back, as well as new coaching regimes. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. First up, we're going to go from worst to first in the division. We're going to go with the Carolina Panthers. Now, we know the Carolina Panthers gave up a hell of a trade haul for the number one pick in order to draft Bryce Young. That whole coaching regime is now gone. You are now on to another coach. This coach coming over from Tampa Bay, interdivision coach. He was the OC for Tampa Bay last year, helped Baker Mayfield. Before that, he was with Seattle and the Seahawks, and he helped Geno Smith kind of revive his career, if you will. So let's look at what the Panthers have to do to build around Bryce Young. What are they working with? So as far as cap space, they don't have very much. They have about $11 million, but they did just tag Brian Burns. Brian Burns is probably their biggest trade block. They do have other free agents. Frankie Love, Jeremy Chin. I could also see them trading or coming up off of one way or another, either release or trade Shaq Thompson. Now, with the Carolina Panthers, they need everything offensively. This is going to be a complete rebuild, and what we've seen thus far out of this owner is that this owner doesn't have a lot of patience. This owner comes off like a Jerry Jones-ish type of person, but he's more out there in somewhat of a negative light. This past season, throwing cups of alcohol or liquid on to opposing teams' fans. But how much leash is he going to give this new coach? Are we going to give this coach the opportunity to build around Bryce? It was said that the owner is the one who wanted Bryce. Frank Reich and his staff wanted C.J. Stroud with the first overall pick. So did that come into play with the drafting of Bryce Young? Now, they did sign last season Miles Sanders over from the Eagles, who did not pan out. And you would think with Frank Reich's history calling plays that he would have some form of rushing attack, and that was not the case. So they're going to have to go offensive line. They're going to have to beef up this front. They did draft a tackle last year. They do have a solid right tackle. Now, your interior, you're going to have to retool that. I think you would have to probably do that through free agency. This is an extremely deep draft when it comes to the skill position, especially wide receiver. And you're going to have to supply Bryce with some talent. His best wide receiver threat last year was an older, declining Adam Thielen. Maybe they trade Terrence Marshall Jr. He just hasn't been happy there. He hasn't really been utilized either. This is going on his third coach. So I think that you could possibly get something with that. Seeing how everything is now going, we'll see. But Carolina, you have a lot of work to do. And it all stems from building around your young quarterback if you're going to go anywhere. I definitely see this team in the bottom half of the NFL next year, probably the bottom 10, bottom 5 most likely. All right, off to the next team. We're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints, who have been doing some cap restructuring, and it hasn't really been too effective. They're still negative in the cap space. So with free agency literally right around the corner within a few hours, about 24 hours exactly, for them to be able to start negotiating, you would think some of these high-priced players, they are going to have to come off of one of those in particular would probably be Alvin Kamara. The running back position, this free agency running back class is extremely loaded. I don't see you keeping Alvin Kamara on the contract that he's on with the decline in production. More and more injuries, it seems, and as well as most recent some off-field stuff that he was suspended for this past season for a couple of games, I believe. They did draft a young running back, so it's probably time to come up off Alvin Kamara. They reworked or renegotiated, reworked, however you want to word it, Derek Carr's deal. But their best wide receiver is Chris Olave. Michael Thomas is not going to be there. You don't have really a solid tight end. You're going to lose on some offensive linemen. Andrews Pete, I believe Cesar Ruiz is also a free agent in the interior. You're going to have to continue to try to build. This is more so a veteran-led team, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, and where they did re-sign or redo the Honey Badger Tyrann Matthews deal. They reworked Cameron Jordan's deal as well. You still have Demario Davis, but where are you going to go? There have been talks of possibly trading Marshawn Lattimore because he's an oft-injured corner with a big cap. I believe you could probably pull a third, maybe a fourth-round pick for Marshawn Lattimore. When he's on the field, he is a very, very, very good corner. How often is he going to be on the field would be the problem with that. Their main thing that they're going to have to do is try to get and find cap. This has been a team that they have done a lot of finessing when it comes to the cap space. If you see how they worked Kamara's deal, Michael Thomas deal, Taysom Hill's deal. Taysom Hill had a huge deal, and he doesn't really have a position. He plays some of everything. So that's the Saints in a nutshell, really. They have been robbing Peter to pay Paul, and now it's time to pay up. It's time to pay up. So what are the New Orleans Saints going to do? You're going to have to try to build around Derek Carr, and how are you going to do that offensively? It's going to have to be with a lot of lower level free agents and a good draft. You're going to have to hit on all your draft class. Off to the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. My boy Static, this is your team. Stop lying. All right. They lost Jonnu Smith. This team here, though, could be poised to leapfrog the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Tampa Bay we'll talk about Tampa Bay and what they did next. But anyways, this team has the potential to become first in the division. This team has potential to be a playoff team in this division. They are right now, just as I began to start shooting, it was reported that the Falcons could definitely land Kirk Cousins. Good or bad, I don't know, because he's coming off of a major injury at an older age. He also has been a genius when it comes to how he has his contracts worked out. So he may end up getting the Falcons for a pretty piece of change. But they do have a lot of talent to support whoever they have at quarterback. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Drake London. They have Bijan Robinson. So their offensive line is pretty solid. This defense was pretty solid. You'll have some players that you will need to, or some positions on that defense, some holes you'll need to fill. One that I would actually like to see happen, and Raheem Morris, he's been some of everywhere and coached some of everywhere. He was a good defensive back coach. You already have AJ Terrell, and they signed Jesse Bates last year from the Bengals. I would like to see them pair Justin Simmons with Jesse Bates and have a solid safety tandem. Probably, let me think, that might be the best pairing at the safety position, these two players. You still have AJ Terrell, who can lock down one side. Then you can kind of focus on or bring along another young corner if that's the way that they choose to go in the draft. If they get their quarterback in free agency, which most likely they will do, because there's so much talent on this team, I do not believe that they will go the route of drafting a rookie quarterback unless they get an older quarterback like a Kirk Cousins or somewhere along those lines. I would like to see this team trade for Justin Fields, depending on what it's going to cost you. But I know this offense may not suit what he does best. And also the Bears, everyone knowing that the Bears they have to get rid of Justin Fields. You can get him for really anything. I mean, we just saw Mac Jones get traded for a 6th-round pick, and he was also a former 1st-round quarterback. So we'll see the route that goes. Mac Jones has been to a Pro Bowl. Justin Fields has not. So there's going to be a lot of arguments for and against Justin Fields. But if you put Justin Fields and his athletic ability with Bijan Robinson, that RPO is gonna be phenomenal. With on that speed turf, with the talent that they have, the pass catchers that he has, of course they will add to it. I would like to see them go after Darnell Mooney, who will be a nice second receiver slot style guy, and he's played with Justin in Chicago. But if they go the Kirk Cousins route, Kirk Cousins got hurt later on in the year, so how far away is he from a actual return? Coming off a major injury, this team is built to be able to do something this year. Raheem Morris is back. He was the interim coach when they fired Dan Quinn. He's been places. He's won the Super Bowl with the Rams as their defensive coordinator. He's brought Zach Robinson over as his OC from the Rams. So you know that they're going to have some shiftiness and some nice play calling coming from that McVay tree, the same as the Vikings head coach. So I would like to definitely see these guys get a quarterback before the draft so that they can go into the draft and go best player available. I would like to see them pick Dallas Turner out of Alabama. He can play outside linebacker. He can play on the end as a defensive end. He can be a stand-up outside linebacker, but he will secure that edge, and he comes with a lot of length, a lot of speed, a lot of ability, and a lot of he's played a lot of football experience. I couldn't think of the word. He has played a lot of football at the University of Alabama, and we know what their defenders usually look like. He played across from Will Anderson. We saw what Will Anderson was able to do last year, becoming the defensive rookie of the year. So I definitely think the Falcons are a team to keep your eye on moving forward next year. All right, now finally, let's go to the division leaders, playoff team winners, playoff team contender last year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have franchise tagged Antoine Winfield Jr. They have re-signed Mike Evans. They cut Shaq Barrett. They're in talks with Baker Mayfield. I believe that they would like to get Baker signed before free agency starts tomorrow. Tampa Bay will be replacing some players. For the most part, they have a good shot at repeating because everything else within this division. The Panthers are pretty much a rock bottom team. The Saints, money wise, and with their quarterback situation, their coach is really not that great of a head coach. They're just not. They're like a run of the mill team. Their top threat in here, like I stated before, would be the Atlanta Falcons. But I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they get Baker back, I believe Tampa Bay will be the winners of this division. They have a nice defensive front. Clancy, Vita Vea, the kid from Washington, he got that long name. They got another kid, Dada from Louisville, to book in their edge. They most likely are going to lose Devin White. I don't really think that he fell out of favor from that Super Bowl run. Ever since then, it just seems like he has been kind of on the down, and he is a talented linebacker who can run. He's big. He can hit. He can cover. You'd think that he would be a player that they would like to bring back, but I don't think so. I do think that they will re-sign Levante David and bring him back. I think him and Mike Evans will be Bucks for life. What will they do with Chris Godwin would be another question that I have. Him and Mike Evans are a good 1-2 punch. You're going to need someone who can split the seams, so to speak, someone to get downhill, someone to loosen the coverage, and they're going to need a running back. But the thing about it is this year is a good year to need one. You have so many big name guys heading into free agency. Depending on what you want to spend, you can get you a bruiser like an AJ Dillon. You can get you a very good ball carrier in Zach Moss, who played for the Colts last year while Jonathan Taylor was out. Tony Pollard could be a nice change of pace style back. I don't think that they would go with one of the big name backs, the Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley's, or the Derrick Henrys. I don't see that. A name to keep an eye out for them is Aaron Jones. If he is released, could he want to go and play in Tampa Bay? In nice weather, a nice stadium, nice area, no taxes. But that's just a name to keep an eye on for them. But draft-wise, I believe this team is going to up this team is going to overload their offensive line. They are going to lose Jennings. I believe that's his name. Jennings. The center had to retire due to injury. Tristan Wirfs moved from the right tackle to the left tackle and still played extremely well. So, I mean, you do have some holes that you need to fill on this offensive front. The defense, for the most part, under Todd Bowles is going to be what they're going to be. They're going to be a productive unit. This team here is going to be mainly offensively, and that's why you want to get your veteran guys back. Baker's not an old guy. He's still a veteran. You have a Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. You probably will need to get a tight end as well. But this is the draft to get those as well. So, I mean, I believe Tampa Bay is in position with them getting their quarterback back, which I believe will happen before free agency starts tomorrow. I believe Tampa Bay will be the team to win the NFC South again next year. I don't think anyone else is going to be able to see them. That's pretty weak division. All right, y'all. So that's the end of this video. Please like, share, subscribe. You can also catch me on Doubles D podcast with my brother Damien. Go there, like, share, subscribe, comment, talk to us. Let us know what we can work on. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like, what you would like us to do, what you would like me to do here, what type of videos you would like to see. Any feedback is good feedback, in my opinion. All right. So again, off-season outlook, free agency edition, NFC South. This is the end of the video. Y'all have a good